that.
Nope. All right, welcome to the Fold Mysteries, where we seek to discover everything that lies between the folds of reality. So, anything new and exciting this week with you, Chad?
Yeah, I found a special guest that I can't believe we even got. So that's exciting
Yeah.
this week. And also, yeah, I got work to help pay for and to fund things we're going to do in the future. So that's a good thing.
Yes. My only news this week is that I started my new job. So finally got that job I've been
Good.
aiming to get. Yep, so that's pretty exciting.
That's it. That's it. What about the
But
baby sitting in the car with you? Shut up.
oh yeah, so my grandson Jasper, he'll be 2 months old on the 11th, and he was chilling in the car with me, and I actually posted a
Mhm.
picture on Facebook if anybody wants to check it out.
He
He's
actually
just
looked
chilling.
happy. He was like, Grandma, Grandma, Grandma.
Yeah, he was just chilling all by himself. It was kind of crazy because like this little dude's sitting up by himself already. It's crazy. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I mean nothing terribly exciting. But yeah, I mean, as far as like investigative stuff, it's kind of been busy, so I haven't had a chance to get out and do much. But
Mhm.
yeah, why don't you talk to us about our guest, which is the David Shealy.
Well, David Shealy is the leading skunk ape researcher in the world. Him and his brother had encounters, not only what they recorded, but what they had experienced in their whole life. Um, they're they really are the leading people in it, and they also claim that in the Everglades, skunk ape is a little different than the Bigfoot we know because they've through evolving, they've grown toes a little different to where they're like four toed and stuff like that to walk through the swamp and big fat toes. And, you know, he's like really interesting, man. David Shealy, I've had been in discussion with him for like 20 years. I've known the guy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Welcome, David.
he's like a 30-year researcher, so he's no joke. And
30. Come on. I'm
what 30?
62 years old. That's
All
all
right,
my
40-year researcher.
more like 50 years.
All
I
right, fine.
mean, I started when I was 10 is when I had my sighting, and I've been fascinated with it and spent my entire life here in the Everglades researching what I saw.
I'm sorry
So,
I'm so young, David. I didn't,
uh,
you know.
I think Bob Gimlin's the only one that's got me beat right now. He's one. I got very few heroes in the Bigfoot world. I can tell you that. But Bob Gimlin is one of them, and
Yes,
he,
absolutely.
yeah, he's got 10 years on me.
But let's talk about some of your discoveries. Not only your epic film, but things you've discovered in the field. You know, like structures, which aren't really common in Florida, but there are some, and then footprints and things that you discovered aside from your film that is just incredible.
Mhm. You want to talk about that now? Right now,
Yeah.
you want to talk about the
Actually,
the
before we go
structure?
into that, oh yeah. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about like the Everglades and what type of terrain and area that is and the possibilities for something like that to be out there in the area?
Okay. Well, one of the first things that people think about when they think of the Everglades, at least in the beginning, this is back in the late 80s when I started really going public with the information. The big thing was, well, there's no food for them to eat down there. There's nothing for an animal like that to eat, and there's no way it could be here. And I was just baffled at people's I want to say ignorance, and they say ignorance isn't a bad word, but it sounds bad. I want to say they weren't people don't know that much about the Everglades. The Everglades is full of food. We have more food here than the places up north. In fact, we have it year round. It's always available. So right away, the response from the Bigfoot community was extremely negative, despite not only the possibility, but the fact that we have these creatures down here. There we go. We went out. Are we back on?
Yeah,
You
you're
go
right here.
ahead. You keep talking.
Oh,
You're right
okay. Well,
here.
the screen changed around. So,
No, she's
okay.
just
And then, if you add that to these tracks that I find, um, it was hard. It was hard for like maybe 30 years. I was basically shunned by the Bigfoot community. And so I took the video in 2000. I mean, hell, Chad, that was 25 years ago. To
it
me, it
was
seems
a long time
yesterday.
ago.
But I did 25 years of research before that, and granted, when you're a kid, how much research can you do? Well, I'm a pretty bright guy, I did a lot of research my entire
Mhm.
life. So so there was that to contend with. There was no food here. Uh and and it's amazing. It's amazing what's happened over the last 50 years in Bigfoot in general across the country. I can tell you
But,
that.
Oh yeah.
but
Um,
what about shellfish, David? I mean, wasn't that prevalent? That snails, the oysters, the crabs at when the water ran down and the tides receded. I mean, there was plenty of like protein
sure.
available.
Sure, it's no problem here. We had tens of thousands of Indians that lived here in the Everglades, and they not just survived, but they thrived here. There's, you know, so it, there's people know so little about the Everglades, unfortunately, and a lot of what you see or maybe have seen on the news about the Everglades and the condition of the Everglades it's really not it's the news is what it is. It's political thing that is used. We know this. We all know this. And the Everglades is a valuable property. I'll be honest with you. I mean, we're here in South Florida.
Mhm.
They could easily develop it. I mean, there's enough people that want to live here, so there's a lot of value here. It's being chipped away at on the edges by developers now. We have about 3 million acres that are preserved, though. I live right in the middle of that,
Oh wow.
and
That's awesome.
yeah, these projects, the Everglades restoration projects, these are things that are in the hundreds of billions of dollars. So, we've got there's a lot of people down here, a lot of big businessmen. There's a lot of money to be made there. That money goes somewhere. Uh,
Right.
it,
Yeah. Exactly.
it's very political. They just down the street from me, there was land that had been supposedly preserved forever and the government just took it over and there was an abandoned airstrip there and they built this alligator Alcatraz, I mean, right near my house here. So
Mhm.
even though the land's protected, it's still getting chipped at. So
But they didn't build the alligator Alcatraz. It was pretty much The most of it was already there.
Yeah.
Correct. But now they're enlarging it, which is
No. Everybody thinks that it was an airstrip. It was going to be a major development. They were going to have 18 airstrips capable of landing supersonic jets. This was back in the days of the the one that flew back and forth, the Condor, or whatever that plane was.
pre-immigration, right?
Well, they're not flying people out of there, Chad. The airport is dilapidated. It was only used for emergencies. And I know that you're thinking in your head, well, they're just using that airstrip and they're loading the prisoners on it and flying them. They haven't flown anybody out of there. Right now, they've got over $2 million.
Are they flying people in?
No, they're bussing them. And then they got to bus them back out to take them over to the Miami airport. The public really doesn't know what's going on there, but it's not what people think's going on. They're housing thousands of people in these tents. I mean, all day long, it's truckloads of sewage in front of my house here. This is a tourist destination. This is the heart of the Everglades. There's a lot of issues there, and I don't really want to get into that.
Yeah,
but
we don't
I
have to.
personally watched over 500 dump trucks go into the place. I've had people down there that's seen another 500. There are thousands of trucks, loads of dirt going in there. They are not telling the truth about what they're doing.
Oh,
so what they're doing is they're causing a havoc in a natural area by having thousands of people in there having to disperse their shit.
And they've got these generators running, and you can see the lights of the facility from 20 miles away. And we're in a dark sky. We're in a nationally accredited dark sky area. People travel here from around the world to view the sky. And now we have this giant globe of light right in the heart of the Everglades. And it's not cost effective. They're not doing what they said they were going to do there. And they're gonna get it out of there at some point, because they've spent almost $2 million per individual that they've deported. That's $2 million on each person. This is not a giant thing where thousands of people are being run through it. That's not what's happening. Have you ever seen how many people they've run through it? Have they ever published that?
No, never seen it.
Going to, because they're embarrassed. They made a mistake. The Everglades is a very harsh environment. There's a lot more logistically to living here than just thinking you can do it. My family's been here since 1890. We know what it's like.
That's wild.
Can I ask you a question, David?
Yeah, go ahead.
So what about the Panther Preserve? This preserve that's hundreds of thousands of acres, millions of acres actually, fenced in to protect the Florida panther. What is that really about? I mean, because I don't believe it's about the panther.
Yeah. Well, they brought cougars here and they let them go. And we had so much wildlife. It was so beautiful here. And when the cougars came, they killed all of our wildlife. All of our wildlife has been decimated here by a panther. That's biologists. They preach here in Florida, no exotics, but then they started this program to up the gene pool of the panthers that we had here naturally. They said that they had a crook in their tail, and it was from inbreeding, much like the skunk ape has differences, but they had a crook in its tail and a cowlick on its back, and they were trying to get rid of that because they didn't like it. So they brought these cougars in, which were a whole different animal, much larger cat, much more aggressive cat, and very much an opportunist, where our panthers regulated their kills. They had found a balance with nature here. So when the cougars came in, they're opportunistic killers, just like a house cat in the wild. And so what happened is each cougar takes 30 deer a year to live. That's what they kill. Or you can times that by raccoons in equal weight or whatever. But So it can be, thousands of raccoons, whatever. So our area held about 30 panthers that had found a balance. All of a sudden, the numbers went up. We had more than 300 here. So if you start doing the math, 300 cougars killing 30 deer a year, or 200 raccoons, or 50. I mean, yeah, they kill 30 deer a year. So if you times that, the numbers go crazy. And the Indian tribes did the math and went to the Park Service and says, we've got cougars circling our children's playgrounds. There were cougars walking up and down the highways. They
Wow.
showed them on paper. There's an imbalance here. But what happened is they killed everything. Then they started killing each other. Then they started eating each other. And nature taking its course. They are dying off here in Florida now. We are dying back down to what we had. Unfortunately, a lot of them have lymphoma, which is and so hip displacement. And I believe all of that occurred by the cannibalism. I think that's what triggered it.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm
little.
just curious. Have you seen, because you've been there, you're basically your whole life, and you were there prior to all this development, and I'm curious, have you seen a rise in the skunk ape experiences and witnesses because of the development, because we are pushing into more of the wild areas?
There's a lot of sightings in areas that are being cleared around the perimeters of the protected Everglades. So there's always sightings. If there's golf courses going in, not always, but I get a lot of calls on the edge of civilization saying, and so I attribute that to them moving into skunk apes territory. Fortunately, they're omnivores, very much like the black bear, and they're pretty big and they can defend themselves. So they stood their ground against the onslaught of cats. I'm sure there were issues, but they have survived. We have a strong bear population here, and also a pretty balanced panther population now. So things are getting back to normal.
Especially in your area, there's a lot of panther.
Yeah, I'm curious because when Chad
Right
was
now,
talking about you and your work, go ahead.
I'm sitting in the heart of panther country right now. If you're thinking about Florida Panthers,
Yep, you're there.
I'm sitting
You're
right now. I'm in the woods. I'm not in the city. I'm in the Everglades right now.
Yeah,
You're in the middle of nothing.
Right in the middle of that.
You're surrounded by swamp, Dave. I've been there. I've camped there. I know exactly where you are.
That's funny.
You want to see alligators? You want to see panthers, bears? You just go hang out there for a minute. You'll find them.
Yeah, they're around.
I want to get into, because Chad was talking to me about how you described the changes between the skunk ape and Bigfoot. So can you give us kind of a rundown of what a skunk ape looks like and those differences between a skunk ape and a Bigfoot?
Well, what I'm seeing down here, and I've had 4 different really good sightings in my lifetime. The one I got on videotape. I find tracks, I like to say annually, but this dry season, I didn't find any. They're all about 6.5 feet tall, maybe 7 foot at best, which is shorter than people describe a Bigfoot as being. Most big feet are at least 7 foot tall or bigger. So it's a smaller animal. I was just down in the Keys, and we have the key deer down there, which are the smallest deer in North America.
They're basically white-tailed deer that are little, right?
Yeah, and and so and bigger animals tend to hold a lot of fat, like up north. The deer are bigger up north. The deer here in the Everglades are still, not are still on the small side. 120 pounds is a good sized deer here in the Everglades. So our animals, all of them across the board, are a little smaller down here. I don't know if that's just the climate or what, the food source. I don't know, but they're smaller, and that goes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, so their kind of evolution, I guess I could say, or development rather, kind of follows suit with the rest of the creatures around there, with them being naturally smaller, except like the deer, and then the skunk ape smaller than the Bigfoot.
The
And
reptilians are bigger.
well, yeah, I mean that's different because I feel
Well,
like
not so
maybe.
much. The Everglades has a lot of alligators. I was out the other night near alligator Alcatraz, all them lights, but I was gator hunting with it. I don't do a lot of hunting, but I went alligator hunting, and there were literally thousands of alligators between 7 and 9 feet. But there we do have a few monster alligators here in the Everglades. But the point I was getting at is the deeper, colder water lakes to the north of Florida actually hold bigger alligators. They're more abundant. Um, Everything's a little smaller down here.
Wow,
Didn't
yeah.
you tell me something about dark water too, David? Where dark water, where the monster gators live in the darkest, like the murky water.
I don't know about that. I mean, water gets clear and murky when it gets stirred up. We get rainy season. Sometimes the water's clear. If there's a lot of fish in a pond, it'll make it murky. I don't know about that. Our water's clear down here. It's always clear everywhere, especially right now. The water's up and moving. It's the river of grass. So we
Oh,
don't
how
really
neat.
get murky water. We get tannic acid. Tannic acid comes from the tree leaves, and that goes into the Gulf. That feeds the bioorganisms and stuff that feed the fish, and that's a very important role the Everglades plays in the Gulf of Mexico. Is that tannic acid that you may be speaking of? But that's in the marshes where the crocodiles live. I've been out in the marshes lately. The last couple of days, I've been out in the marshes.
So let's
It's been
talk about the crocodiles, David. Are they like real? Are they really like starting to?
The crocodiles, they're real.
Yeah, they're
No,
real.
I mean, are they really starting to show up in Florida?
Well, yeah, they've always been here. They were hunted at one time like the alligators, but they at Turkey Point Nuclear Power Plant, just south of Miami, between Miami and Key Largo, there were a bunch of cooling canals that cooled that nuclear water, and they fenced that area in, and they started capturing nuisance crocodiles. This was the state and putting them in there, and they started a huge breeding population in those cooling canals. And then also in the wild, about it's 70 miles of coastline, and about 35 miles down that goes nowhere. About halfway in the middle, there's an area called Flamingo, and that there was a stronghold for the crocodiles, and they're also doing very well there, and they're starting to fan out. I used to see one every now and then when I was out in the islands, but now I see them regularly.
Wow. Wow.
And I'm in the islands a lot.
Yeah. Wow. You live in a very exciting area, honestly. Um,
If you've
I
only
want to.
been there, Gwen, if you've only been to his spot, it's freaking crazy.
I've been to
He's
Florida.
surrounded
I've
by the
never been
swamp.
to, where your area is. I've just
I'm
kind of been,
trying to
on
get
the
you down
coastal.
here. I think I offered to pay
I'm
for a plane ticket, didn't I?
I'm down.
You
I don't
did.
think so. I don't think
Ah,
so.
yeah,
He
We discussed
now,
how I
Gwen.
was
He
gonna get down
offered
there.
now.
yeah.
Now I
I,
feel like you offered, so I'm gonna have to take you up on that offer. Come down there,
yeah.
investigate with David Shealy for a little while.
You've been busy, I think, though. I mean, just with your life and your family and your job, I think you've been kind of
Yeah.
busy for like a little while now.
It's been chaos, yeah. And once I'm out of school, which will be March of next year, I'll have a lot more free time. But, going to school, working full time, raising my son that's still at home, and now helping out with my grandson. I've been very
But
busy.
what
So
about the baby? Wait, don't leave
I
the
just
baby
said
out.
that. I said helping out with my grandson.
No. Oh,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been busy, but I want to kind of get back to the skunk ape because I find the
Okay,
skunk ape to be
let's do.
very, very, very interesting. Because you talked about how he's shorter. How about the color? How about the type of temperament that people
Um,
witness from it?
okay. The color. Sometimes people report them as being black. And one or two of my sightings, it wasn't as apparent, but the predominant color that sticks out with me is like a cinnamon color. It's not jet black. It's more of a reddish
Oh,
brown or cinnamon color. What I've been seeing, and there's more than one, obviously. Right here in the Big Cypress alone, where I'm at, we've probably got 8 of them living here,
oh wow.
based on
Um,
tracks I found over the years. And I like I go into areas that haven't seen a human footprint in more than 20 years on a regular basis. There is not a lot of people go in the areas where I go. That the park uses the helicopter and flies it. They hired a group of orangutan experts from Indonesia. They brought them here. Because they thought the tracks I was and the sightings that are reported at the local ranger station, they thought it might be a small group of orangutans that had somehow adapted to the Everglades. And I met with them, and we talked about the similarities between what I saw and orangutans. And what I saw was obviously a taller animal. It wasn't an orangutan. If anything, you could describe it as a very large, long-legged chimp, uh, a
yeah.
thinner bodied
Wow.
animal than what you think of Bigfoot, a little thinner bodied than that. And
Oh, that's
so
interesting.
so they talked to me about these bedding like things that I find up in trees. They kind of look like an eagle's nest, but they're down low and they're down near just above the swamp, up above the ground, and they're built out of sticks. Sometimes they'll even have branches and stuff from trees that are 100 yards away. So they put a lot of effort into it. Where an orangutan makes a different one every night. Every night they sleep. They never sleep in the same bed. They just fold the tree limbs over right where they're at. They're not very complicated. Uh, they're more or less just where they can rest their bones and lay up in the trees. And if that was the case, that those type structures would be throughout the forest where the sightings occur. But that wasn't the case when the orangutan researchers came here. They didn't discover anything uh, that resembled orangutan structures. They did find some of the larger ones that were made up a little more substantial with different type material in it, and they were a little puzzled at that, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow. That's super interesting that like a whole team of people were sent in by, what was it, the government, I assume?
The National Park Service.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
they do
To see if
that.
they've had that many sightings to have somebody come and research it like that.
Yeah, it's still going on. Yeah, they're and the government's closed down, which is it hasn't been closed down for years. It's just closed down at the moment. But
Right.
even when it's up and running, there's really not a lot of people out here. They got 2 or 3 rangers that are from other states. They go out so quick. They come here and they bring their family. And they're like, okay, live there. And they send another one down. So they don't never really get familiar with the area enough to get out into the back country. And it's not like you're walking in the woods and you come upon a ranger. They don't go in the
Right.
woods. They stay on
Oh,
the
yeah.
roads, the cars. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's just not a lot of research down here, and a lot of sightings. We get millions of visitors to the Everglades each year. So if you have a million visitors, that's 2 million eyes looking around.
Yeah.
So you get 2 million
Yeah.
people on here looking around, and they're going to see things and they're going to report them.
100%. 100%. So, you mentioned for a brief second something about structures. Can you tell me about
Mhm.
that? You found
Yeah,
structures.
yeah,
What
yeah. I don't think you've ever seen a picture of one. I did a show with Josh Gates, the truth is out there or something.
Yeah.
They had to get tree climbing up into the tree, and there was some birds, some large birds that had been eaten, and also some fish um, in there. And it was interesting because there were palm fronds laid on the sticks. Palm frond is the leaf of a palm tree, and they're pretty good size. And there were a lot of palm leaves up in the nest, and it was in an area where palm trees really weren't present. You would have to have carried them from quite a distance to get them in there and get them up in the tree, and they were too big, to for birds. It was just strange, really strange.
That's super strange.
Yeah,
That's super,
yeah, it
super
was. They made a whole
interesting.
show out of it.
Yeah. So is there okay, so it's on the show then, it's on that episode then, or is there
Yeah.
somewhere that people
Yeah,
that
I've done so many television shows, and I've done a lot. I've done like 4 with Josh Gates, and I'll tell you this: when that show came out, they that network called me and talked to me about what they wanted to do and the kind of person that they wanted to help them, and they were wanting to know if I was interested. And I was interested, but Josh Gates got the job, and he's great representative of for the networks, whoever he's working for. He's a good guy. I was a little young in the media part of it, and
yeah.
but I admire Josh. We did some things for the Make a Wish Foundation. He's a friend. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember the show though. The truth is out there. It was just recently. It was just this past year.
Okay. So you didn't
Destination
have
Cruise.
any
I don't
separate
know.
places where people can go to see those, they gotta watch the show then, yeah?
Yeah, I don't have anywhere else that you could see that other than watch that show.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I think
it's
that's good,
fascinating.
yeah. It'll be
Yeah,
interesting anyways to get to watch it, so it'll be a treat if people go check it out. That's
yeah,
neat.
yeah. I do a
Um,
lot of public relations stuff like that. Constant, constant, daily. I had a I had a movie crew here in my house today. Uh, Hollywood makeup artist, the whole 9 yards. My yard full of camera. My house. They filmed. Wasn't about the skunk ape, but I live in a unique area. My neighbors are the Seminole and Miccosukee Indians, and so it was a documentary about them. It was kind of a big deal. I was really happy. I don't know why they picked my house, but they're my friends. I said, "Come on in, let's do it." So they were here. They had about 12 people, film crew, pretty big crew. Yeah.
that's a big
Mhm.
crew. That's a
Good
big
looking.
crew, so that's nice too. So
Yeah, it
where were
was.
you at when they were doing all this? Were you kind of floating around in the midst of it, staying out of the way of the cameras?
Actually, I'm going to tell you what I was doing. I got a call from Naples from a guy. He said, "Dave, I need a gator," and I said, "Well, I'll bring you a gator." So they got here this morning. They were in my house. I had left. Man, I left all these people in my house. Like, can we use your refrigerator? Go ahead. Um, so I had to put an alligator in the back of my truck, and I drove into Naples, Florida, and it was this corporate thing. There were all of these guys standing next to limousines with their limo driver jackets on, dressed to a T, real limo drivers in real limousines.
Wow.
And then there were a bunch of those Segways that you
Yeah,
ride. You see the cop. I
yeah.
got to drive one. Uh,
Very cool.
yeah, yeah. And so it was a photo shoot for this corporate company, and they wanted this friend of mine who they knew to stand there with them holding this alligator. And so I made a few $100, but the
Hey,
biggest part of it is they own the tour companies that handle the masses all the way from Fort Myers Beach down into Marco Island, and they shuttle thousands of people around. And the owner of the thing comes up to me and says, Dave, we want to bring you hundreds of people every day, 7 days a week to your business. We want to do this for you. And I thought, not only did they pay me for bringing the gator, but, they made me, that $1 million offer. And so it was a good day for me today. I told him, give me 30 days to think about it, but I'm probably going to do it.
Yeah.
And so that will, at my research facility, it's crazy up there. It's crazy how many people are coming in. I mean, my parking lot is just full all the time. We're getting ready to do a large expansion and some other things here. My son runs it now, and he's got kids, and it's interesting. But today was a good day, so that's what I did. And
Yeah.
then I came back, and they were still here. And so I hung out, and I got to watch the show, if you know what I mean. There was, like I told, a lot of pretty girls here, and no, some of them were running back and forth to the car to get items, and it was beautiful.
That's hilarious. Well, I'm glad you had a good day.
Yeah, yeah. Tomorrow, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to because tomorrow I'm going up. I'm going to go buy a few gators. I want to get a few more. I want to buy. I should have hatched some eggs this year, and I didn't. I kept my gators apart, and I'm like, oh man, I need some baby gators. So I'm going to go buy some little hatchlings. They just hatched last month. I think I'm going to buy 3 or 4 of them. And I know the guy good. He may try to give me a crocodile. I don't know, but I don't think I'll take it. But
So can I ask you a question? Sorry,
what? You get a gator.
What
you got
life. I want to know. I want to know about your hunt. You're like going out into the Gulf of Mexico looking for Spanish treasures.
Can we finish talking about the gators first before we switch topics?
Oh no, the gators are the ones that eat you while you're looking.
I have to know more about the gators before we switch topics.
I'm actually supposed to go to the Keys on Sunday for a few days, but I might end up on the Indian reservation Saturday, Sunday, and go to the Keys Monday. I haven't decided yet. Just so you know.
All right.
When you talk about gators, so when he says, "Hey, buddy, I need a gator," when you get him a gator, you're getting him a gator from that you have.
Yeah, I own some alligator. I didn't bring him a big one.
Right. Huh? I want to know about your gator work. Like, what do you do
today?
No, in general, with your alligators.
In general, people come in and look at them. That's kind of if you stop in Skunk Ape Research headquarters, then we got a back room, and I got gators, and I can breed them. I can have 50 alligators. I've got 6. I mean, any animal's a responsibility, and I try to keep it low. 6 is plenty. And people come in and see them and look at them, and we give information on it. They're for educational purposes. I have to educate with them. That's how I got the license. And you hear about the pythons here in the Everglades. I'm right in the middle of that. I had the largest python in the world up until recently. She passed away of old age. She was 25 feet long, 350 pounds.
Yep.
And
she's beautiful.
So
I met her.
I'm one of the few people that carry permits to where I can actually capture them in the wild. And then I have a gun that puts a chip in them. And then I can keep that snake alive for educational purposes. That's very rare. Even your state licensed python hunters and the general public, if they catch one of those snakes, they have to kill it immediately. But I can actually keep them and have them on the premises. And right now I've only got 1, but it would be no problem for me to have 5 or 10. But enough. I took that big python that I got. Now, it's not that big. It's like 11 foot. I took it to downtown Naples the other night to an incredible jewelry and crystal store. where my friend Dusty Crumb, he's a History Channel's Serpent Invasion with Troy, the swamp people.
Yeah.
And so I had this big python, and it was like a bull in a china shop, if you can imagine. I mean, everything was glass and everything costed thousands of dollars, and it was tight, and there was a lot of people there. And then we took it out on the main street, and this is like Ritzville, and all of the people walking around, in their dinner suits and all. It was crazy. I just do stuff like that, educational stuff. Do a lot of
Where's my
programming,
taking
a lot of behind the scenes stuff for people, film industries, even the news wanting to report on the pythons. A lot of the pythons you
Wow.
see on the news could be my pythons.
They could
Oh,
be.
wow. How neat. How
Yeah.
neat. So you do some great work. And you also have that Skunk Ape Research Center, which is where is that at? So people, if they're ever in the Everglades, they can visit you.
Okeechobee, Florida.
Yes, it's in Okeechobee, Florida, and we're in the Big Cypress Preserve. Yeah, and it was an old building that we had on the property. It got 40 acres here, and we have camping. But the building itself, that was a storage building, and I cleaned it out and call it my Skunk Ape Research Headquarters. I'd like to do more along those lines, where when people come in, they can actually see research going on. And we have waited. We had COVID. We had elections. We had political things going on. We had 3 hurricanes during all of this. And so it seems like the dust is settled. And my son is the manager of all of the funds. And so we are getting ready now to start a big expansion, that where we can accommodate more people, and have a bigger variety of things. And most importantly, it's going to be historic, of the Gladesman culture. I'm a Gladesman, and that is a culture in itself that is protected here in Florida by the Corps of Army Engineers. A Gladesman is someone who lives in the Everglades, who makes a living in the Everglades, who survives the Everglades. And my family there's only 2 Gladesman's family, and my family is one of them.
Very cool.
It's like a Florida cracker, right?
No, Cracker's a cowboy from north. In the Glades here, they're called Gladesmen. That the whole cracker thing was the reason there's a separation in the Indian tribes, because the Seminoles had a lot of cattle country, but the Miccosukee Indians, all they had was water and wetlands, and so that's why that tribe separated. And that's like the Gladesmen. We're really not crackers. It's a whole cracker's a whole nother person, a whole nother way of life.
But it is a country Floridian, right?
I'd be a native Floridian, yes. My family moved here in 1890, and I tell people that, and they go, "Wow!" And I say, "Yeah, they moved here from Fruitville, Florida. So we've been here a long time."
They were already in Florida.
Yeah, and you're like this like crazy guy that's like out wrangling lizards and snakes and alligators. It's like, hey, man.
Well,
right?
I never really wrangled alligators. I've always just, I was a big hunter. I ran 50 hunting camps when I was younger. I was in charge and owned 50 hunting camps. So I was dealing with 50 different hunt groups on an annual basis. And so I was a hunter. I've always just killed alligators and whatever. If I wanted to eat, I don't just kill anything. It's one of the reasons that did skunk ape when we saw him stand. We had a gun. We could build it, but we just weren't raised that way, that you just shoot things to watch them die. Unfortunately, a lot of people do that. So, and then the snake thing, I caught the first Burmese python in the Everglades. You'll never see me on TV as this is the guy that caught the first one, but I did. It was 13 feet long. I named it Big Mama. It was on the news. People wanted to see it. And so that's kind of how my animal exhibit started. So if people were coming into my headquarters wanting to see the snake. So I put the snake in the back room and I said, well, it's in the back room. Go look at it. Well, and then I caught the big one, the world record later on. Now, granted, when I caught it, it was only 19 feet long, but while I owned it, it grew to be the largest snake in the world. And I had it. I didn't have it skinned. I skinned it myself.
Are you talking about Goldie?
Goldie's dead.
I know, but so Goldie, you caught Goldie wild.
I caught Goldie wild. So technically,
that's the most beautiful snake you'll ever see in the world.
Yeah, you'll see it again because I have her hide is being tanned and processed, and I'm going to have it on display at the visitors at my research center. So it was sad. I didn't want to do it, but it was dig a hole, throw it in it, or take the skin off, and she'll live forever. So like as some kind of Egyptian weirdo, I skinned it. But I mean, it just seemed like the right decision.
I went into the entrance, Gwendolyn, and there was like this 20-foot snake that wanted to fucking eat me, and I said, "Okay, I'm done." It's a fact. I've been in the cage with Goldie. Me and Jason were, and we're like, no. Goldie,
where was she at on her lifespan, David? As far as like her lifespan,
she
said
lived
she was roughly 20 years old.
Yeah, she'd lived 5 years longer than they normally do in the wild. They live a little longer in captivity. I think she was around 30. She was around 30 years old, we've estimated.
Wow.
Fucking David was feeding her goats and shit.
No, I bought rabbits from a facility that they were grown organically, because if you just give them rabbits that are fed regular food, there's steroids and stuff in it that tends to build up in reptiles. So I bought certified organic frozen rabbits through the mail. Now, when I first got into keeping large snakes, I did in fact feed them some chickens and some rabbits that I bought from farmers. But after I started learning about how they retain chemicals, I moved to organic, and they were very expensive, by the way. Buy a 20-pound frozen, organically grown rabbit, frozen in a bag with a fur on it. You thaw it out and you warm it up, and then the snake will eat it. You pay about $45 for that one rabbit. She could eat 3 of them.
That snake would have killed us if it wanted to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It took 9 people just to pick it up, to carry it properly in a line. You couldn't really move it without 9 people.
No, man.
Wow.
That's
wild.
Literally 20 foot long.
It was 25 foot long.
Okay. I'll give you this. It was huge.
There's a couple more things I want to cover before we run out of time. I'll skip back to the skunk ape stuff for a minute, but I want to hear, Chad mentioned earlier, your treasure hunting. So you do treasure hunting.
Oh, yeah. Good God.
I do. Yeah.
Motherfucker goes and gets gold. Well,
there's a family that lived down in the Keys, and they found some bronze cannons that were over 500 years old, and they found them in the 70s. And they got a U.S. Marshal out on the site who gave them admiralty rights over the wreck those cannons came from. So they have admiralty rights to the wreck there just offshore of the Keys. And it's been a 30-year project. Just in the last 10 years, we've spent over $2 million. We've got several boats down there, several homes. Well, we just, we have the best equipment, and I work with.
What's the name of your boat, Dave?
This is it. I'm under confidentiality contract, and I can't really give out a lot of details on what I'm doing. I can just give you the basics, but I can tell you that that we have identified many objects. In fact, we have located over 7 ships, 5 of which we've identified. But the one we are looking for is the Angel Bueno. The Angel Bueno was missing 3 days out of Cuba. It was in South America. It was the initial looting of the Incan Indians. And it was a literal shipload of gold and artifacts. And so you hear about these people, oh, they found $1 million worth of coins. Well, we find those type wrecks, and we have identified and located wrecks that have several $1 million worth of treasure on them. However, we are lawfully bound to the ship with the bronze cannons, the Angel Bueno. So we have these ships in our other ships we've located in our sites. We know where they're at. And so it's not like we haven't found anything. So, but it's been, so right now, we are in some legal maneuvering. We are hoping to, I've been the spokesman for the project now for about 15 years. And I can't say anything. I'm under 3 separate confidentiality clauses. These are major investors that are paying us. I mean, you would, if I told you who they were, you know them, and I can't do that. And so all I can say is that in 3 or 4 months, with God's grace and a little bit of luck, I think I'm going to be able to go public. And when I do, you'll hear about it. I'm very excited about it. And
I know I'll hear about it.
We are a very above board operation and very open and transparent. We do have the rights to salvage what we're looking for. And we fully intend to exercise those rights, but we are going to do it properly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, that's the best way to do it, because you can ensure that moving forward, you'll be able to do more stuff like that for other people, knowing that you can maintain confidentiality.
We have,
and of course, save yourself a lot of lawsuits in the meantime.
We have also acquired a couple of other claims, and it's not something that money can buy. It's something that you do through showing that you're responsible, showing that you're deserving. And so we actually have the rights to salvage another ship now nearby. And we're just now getting all of that. All of it's a lot of paperwork, and it's all being done.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really exciting stuff. Like, I knew that you did treasure hunting, but I didn't know that it was that in depth, like, and that serious. Like, I'd heard about your treasure hunting, but like you've done a very good job of maintaining. Yeah, you've done a very good job of maintaining confidentiality, because I didn't know how in depth it actually was.
It's a big deal. It's a real big deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This man makes nothing sometimes doing investigations and going out on airboats and stuff. I mean,
that's wild.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest about David Shealy. He really does like put effort out into like crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah. I don't even want to know. As far as the treasure hunting goes, though, it's hunting. I'm friends with Dog the Bounty Hunter. I
want some gold too. I want some gold too.
He wants to, but unfortunately, I can't bring him. I got a lot of people that you might know that want to go treasure hunting, but I can't do anything right now. But it is very much like hunting the skunk ape. I'll be quite honest with you. We do thousands of dives. We follow trails of debris that are 500 years old. We follow trails of debris that are 300 years old. We follow them for miles.
Diving. You wouldn't believe it.
We followed one ship that sank 300 years ago over 9 miles on the bottom. So when you're looking for tracks that are 300 years old and you can follow them for 9 miles, you got to
Wow.
use hunting
It,
skills. And it's the
it's
same
not only
skills that
that.
you use hunting on land. It's just underwater. And I work with lots of divers on the boat. Sometimes we have 5 divers at a time going in. I can go down when we locate an item and I can look at that item. I can go in whenever I want. I choose to stay on the boat. The cheapest piece of equipment the divers carry is $9,000. They range from about $9,000 to $45,000 per piece of equipment. So I like to be on the boat and make sure things don't get rattled around when they come to the surface.
Yeah. Wow, that's mind blowing. Honestly,
It
David,
is
you
mind
are
blowing. It's mind
just
blowing to us, and we're
amazing.
the ones doing it.
You are just amazing. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. I hate to end that topic because I'm sure there's so much to learn, but I know that you're held underneath, those confidentiality agreements and don't can only say so much. So what is that?
That's an Atosha. That's an Atosha coin. From that was the $500 million fine. I'm friends with the archaeologist. Actually, I stay with him sometimes. Who who did the recovery on that 500 million?
Oh,
This is this
wow.
one here. This is only silver, but this one is worth about $7,000.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
wild. And you get to wear it around your neck. That's amazing.
yeah.
I love that. I love that. Now, did you play a part in helping find that?
This no, not no, but it's a long story. I was very young. It was found in the '80s, and in the '80s, I was smuggling shipments of marijuana from out into the Everglades. I don't know. I got talked into it. I pled guilty. I did my time. I'm sorry. Um, but so I was down in Key West. I had just made a run and I made a little money and I went down to Key West and there was a brand new hotel that was just been built and I got a room and it had the jacuzzi and it was overlooking the ocean and I turned on the TV to the Johnny Carson show and Mel Fisher was on it, the guy who found the 500 million. And he was on there
Wow.
talking to Johnny Carson. And I thought, man, that's so cool. I'm down here. And he had flown to California. And so I wake up in the morning, I get my coffee and I walk out on the balcony and I'm sipping my coffee. And I look at the balcony next to me and there's Mel Fisher standing there. And I said, I saw you on Johnny Carson last night. And he said, yeah, I just got back into town. And I says, well, it's just amazing. And so I went and looked at all of the treasure when it was still wet, $500 million worth. And I never
Wow.
in when that day, I never thought I'd ever be involved in what I'm involved in today. Uh, I didn't have I knew nothing about treasure hunting, but I had that meeting with Mel Fisher, and I always fall back to that. I was down in his museum the other day. It's absolutely beautiful. He's passed away now. A lot of the old treasure hunters are passing away. Even on my crew, my president passed away
Oh,
last year. A great friend, a good guy. His brother's taken over, and so I'm there. I'm like family. That's why I want to
yeah.
get down there Monday and spend some time. We're putting some new engines on one of the boats. I just want to go down there and spend some time, maybe do a little fishing while we're putting the engines on.
Yeah. So are you
Then,
gonna pass on your legacy of treasure hunting onto your son? Is he gonna pick up where you
don't
leave
know.
off?
And he knows what I'm doing. My son plays music. He just got back from on tour in Europe, and he has a career in music, and he's doing well at it. He's doing very well at it. Uh, he plays Southern rock and Everglades songs, and you know he uh,
Oh, cool.
he's uh, he's doing very well. He just played in New York. He travels all over.
Oh, wow. So is
Yeah,
he like, I mean, can we watch him on YouTube or whatever? Is he where can we
I
see
don't
his
know.
work?
I filmed him a little bit the other night on my Facebook page. But
We'll have to check it out.
yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, he really is into the music. He goes to Louisiana and New Orleans, and and he stays a week with, a bunch of black guys playing the blues, and he gets right in there with them, and he wants you know, to feel that culture and that power and that energy. And he just got back from Europe doing the same thing with musicians over there.
Oh,
He's
very
got it
cool.
going on. Yeah.
Yeah, good for him. That's exciting stuff.
He's very
Um,
in demand.
yeah, well, it sounds like it. It sounds like he's
He
very
is. He
multi-talented
really
as far
is.
as
It's
music.
crazy. Yeah.
Very
He just
cool.
makes when he plays now, he makes a few thousand, which is, that's good for somebody
That's good
playing
money,
music.
yeah.
Yeah, he draws a good crowd. He doesn't
Yeah.
play for less than a few thousand anywhere, even locally.
Wow, good for him. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's doing
Yeah.
something good then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's running this place too. He's a hell of a good businessman, and he likes my treasure hunting. But he's watched me just like the skunk ape stuff. He's watched me for the last 30 years, going back and forth to the Keys, you know, hustling. And the company was struggling. I mean, we're spending about 30,000 a month right now just sitting at the dock. Um,
Wow.
we just had a $2 million racing yacht built. It's beautiful. Now that doesn't come. That's not something we did, but our investors did, and it is on board. It is part of the fleet now. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy stuff. I'm telling you, but I
Sounds like
love
he's picked
it.
up a lot after you, but more on the music side, and he's helping,
Yeah.
he's taking over
So
the business now.
answer your question. I talked to his wife, uh, because all of my living expenses come from the business in the form of a check
Mhm.
weekly that my son writes me. We give him the property here. This property is worth like $15 million. Okay, and that sounds cool and everything, but when it's your home and you're never going to
Right.
sell it, it's really not
Right.
worth anything. So what you're worth won't buy a cup of coffee. It's how much money do you have?
That's
Um,
so true.
so I mean, he's really good at money, and he's making it work, and we're able to live here. My brother, my son, and myself, we all live on the same property, but we're not right up against each other. I'm off to the edge in a little private area. It's a good place to die. It's a good place to grow old. I
Yeah.
like my house. It's very small. It's all I need. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
be around much longer. I don't know. My body seems when I hit 60, I had a heartbreak. I had a younger girlfriend, and, I don't wanna get into a sob story,
Yeah.
but I knew what I was getting
Yeah.
into.
But you
But
know
I hit
what? With
60
everything that
hit
you
me
do,
hard. 660 hit me hard.
yeah. So
Yeah.
with everything that you do, I think that you are good because the more you do, it's like when you stop, your body goes stagnant, and then that's when you start having all your problems. But you do so much. You're always on the move. You're always on something. You're always, your mind's always going. So I think you're
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I think you're good there.
Uh-huh.
I
And
want to
yeah,
get,
and I don't know if I want to at this point because we're out of time, but I'm also the president of World Championship Alligator Wrestling from Florida. I've got 14 alligator wrestlers that work under me that we try to keep busy wrestling alligators. And I started that last year, and it's going absolutely wonderful. I couldn't be happier at the amount of support I've got. I'm fixing to tie the knot with the Indian tribes of Florida, and
oh, cool.
it's a big deal, and it's going great. Oh, and then the colleges down here. There's the Hertz Arena, which holds 9,000 people. I started that a skunk ape night there during a hockey game a few years back, and that is really popular. And now
Oh,
FSU
cool.
is wanting to have a skunk ape night, Florida State University, and they want me to do filming for their jumbotron, educating people on the Everglades, which I do at Hertz Arena as well. So that way I'm communicating to 5 to 9,000 people at a time, and that's always a good feeling when you can get a word out for the Everglades. So I like it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Education is key to conservation. So I
It
love what
is.
you're doing. I
That's
absolutely love
something.
what you're doing. So
Oh,
yeah, I
and
mean,
the whole alligator thing is extremely educational. Gwendolyn, if you ever came to an alligator wrestling match, you'd never be the same, because this is something
Wow.
that's cultural here. You're told the history of it, the relationship between the people who live here and the alligators themselves. It's very respectful, light touching on the alligators. It's the least stressful way to catch an alligator. We strive to do that.
I
It's
love that.
incredible. It's
I love
incredible.
that. And if people ever wanna come view that, you do that at the Skunk Ape Research Headquarters, or is that a separate location?
It's a very expensive proposition. I can't even begin to wrestle gators. It's about $6,000 just to pay
Wow.
the wrestlers. I mean, this is a dangerous job. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have funding through the county museums. I think February 17th, I'm putting on a match. It's going to be funded through the museum. So that's how
Wow.
educational it is. There's going to be probably 30,000 people there, but it's
Wow.
very educational, interesting.
I love
Uh,
that. I love that. Well,
Yeah,
keep an eye on your Facebook page then to kinda see what you're doing with your alligator wrestling and your upcoming stuff with your
yeah.
skunk ape research.
I got a Facebook page for my World Championship Alligator Wrestling from Florida on Facebook. That's me.
Okay.
And then just Dave Shealy on Facebook. I just got a regular Facebook page, but a lot of people look at it. I think, yeah, just like the movie thing going on in my yard today. I don't know, just today, and that was just something that got like 4,000 views. That's pretty
Wow.
good just
That is very
today.
good.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get older and die. So in the meantime, I'll be on the Indian reservation this weekend, and I'm headed to the Keys Monday.
Wow. Well, I think it says something when you have left a legacy of your own, not just through your family, but through your work. And I think that you are definitely one that's doing that. So you are a name that's going to be remembered. So I
No, probably
absolutely.
the skunk ape's name. Probably this people remember the skunk ape for the next 200 years. I don't know if they're going to remember me or not.
Well, I think everybody who has played a part in the multitude of things that you're working on, you're leaving your legacy, David. Don't sell
Uh,
yourself short. I love it.
hey, what? Now that you mention that, I got a question for Chad. Is he there? Where is Chad?
He is not. He looks like he's having some connection troubles, he says.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to briefly mention Melmgren, Jeff Melmgren. Was that his
Meldrum.
name?
Jeff Meldrum.
He passed away.
Yeah, he did. He
Okay, you
did. Rest in
remember his
peace.
you remember his beginnings? See, I think the first time I heard of him, he was on vacation with his wife and kids, and they saw a Bigfoot. Or do I got him confused with somebody else?
I'm not sure where he started. As much as I know about his work, his current work, and everything that he's done with the scientific world,
Mhm.
I don't know where he started. So
No,
that's a good question.
I always thought that, and then I was reading an obituary. There's several out there on the Bigfoot pages this evening, and it mentioned that it said something like he never believed in Bigfoot, but something like that. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I thought he saw a Bigfoot, but maybe
Um,
not. I thought, I don't know
I think,
that.
as far as I'm aware, I think he was open to the idea, but I don't know. I don't know. That's
No,
a really good
yeah,
question. That'll have to be
that's kind
something
of the
that I
way
ask.
people. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, but
Oh,
people
you're
lean
good.
that
No,
way.
by all means.
He's open to the idea. People lean that
Mhm.
way with him. I know they
Yeah.
lean that way, but I always thought in my mind that he saw it
Hmm.
long time ago. And then all of a sudden I started seeing him on television. And then I started hearing this, he was leaning to it thing, 10 years later. But
Yeah.
maybe I'm,
Makes you wonder what piqued his interest. So I'll have to ask, one of his friends. I knew him only very slightly, um, but I know a couple people who are good friends with him, so maybe I can ask them
you
and
know who else?
see.
Yeah, we lost Jane Goodall too.
Yes, that was, Yeah,
Yeah,
she supported the idea of Bigfoot as well.
she
So,
did. And I saw an
yeah.
interview I was watching of her last night. You'll find this interesting. They said, would you say that what is your favorite animal? And they fully expected her to say chimpanzee. And she didn't really say anything. And they said, "Is it the chimpanzee?" And she said, "No, they're too much like humans." She says, "A dog, a dog. That's the best."
Oh,
Wasn't she a
oh,
sweet
that's
lady?
neat.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
that's
it was neat.
neat.
I never heard anything like that before. She knows,
Yeah,
and she's probably right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they really are if you really think about it, and they're very intelligent as well. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pain in the
yeah.
ass with me.
Two, yeah, two very great minds, very good people for the Bigfoot community. Very
Gone.
hard losses for the
Yeah.
community. Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know
So rest
what'll
in
happen
peace.
when I die. I think when I die, I think that there's probably not a whole lot going to be said about it. You
I
know,
disagree, David.
I don't know.
A lot of people care about you.
I think even to this day that a lot of the Bigfoot people and the Bigfoot community, and I've been in it way longer than them, but and I don't mean any disrespect, but I don't think they respect me. I don't. I think there's a lot of egos in the Bigfoot world, and
Yeah.
it's a shame. It really is.
Yeah, but you know what? Research doesn't go anywhere when you're worried about what other people are thinking about your work. So you keep
Well,
doing you. You're doing good stuff. I'm
you're doing
I'm
it.
really excited to see what happens with your treasure hunting. You have to keep me in the loop about that, and
Hmm.
the alligator wrestling.
Sure.
That seems very exciting. And
Uh,
your skunk gate research headquarters as well. You got a lot going on. So
going
we'll
on,
have
yeah,
to
it's going good.
I'll keep an eye out for your work.
It's strange how good it's going. It honestly is strange. So I just kind of letting it happen. I'm gonna be at Gatorama tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. I'm gonna be surrounded by monster alligators. I'm gonna get me some baby gators and bring them home.
That's so wild.
That's my
I've never even
plan.
been around an alligator. Maybe someday when I come
All
visit
right,
you, David.
all right. Let me know. I'll stand by my plane ticket. Okay.
Yay! I can't wait. I'm excited. We got to make
All
it
right.
happen.
All right.
All right. Well, if you're good, I'm good. This was an awesome show. I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we get you on again because you are a very exciting man. And especially if something breaks through with the treasure hunting, we got to get you back on to
Yeah.
talk about it.
Oh, it's going to be a madhouse. It's going to be a medium madhouse. I know it. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm already preparing the guys for it and everything. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big
Yeah.
deal. We just, it's got to be organized. So that's what I do.
Yes.
All
Awesome.
right.
Thank you, David. You hang
Okay.
out for just a minute. We're gonna end this, and I'll to get back with you in just a minute.
Okay.